So now in terms of production, what I do actually end up doing is, because things do take time to actually rot or get spoiled depending on what it is, so you do have to be sure. Of course, food and raw resources actually spoil, some medicines as well, you know, or some manufactured things as well, so you got to keep an eye out. But what I do is I put very small zones on the ground, and I put them as high priority, critical I mean, and I only put what they need. This way they don't need to walk very far away. And then what I do is I let them to drop it immediately on the ground. Now, why I don't put stools, I only put a stool in the back here because I don't have sterile stools. I'm sure you can get it modded, so I think it's cleaner to throw it on the ground than putting it on the stool. And again, I haven't really got that deep into it, so if anyone else knows if that is not true, or if it's quicker if it's on a stool, do let me know. But I think it's probably cleaner to let him chuck it on the ground and then actually throw it on a stool. Hence why I left it that way, because like I said, I am trying to play it as vanilla as possible. And this I do with actually my production as well. If I have a much bigger one, I have them very close by, critical. This way they don't have to walk too far. I have them as high and the haulers can come and drop off the stuff. Same thing here. They do need to make 3 things. I have them very close by, and they can drop off all the stuff that you need to make, and it's really, really good and awesome. And that pretty much goes for everything. These ones I could do it as well. I could probably have some advanced components close by and whatever the hell they're doing with my bionics and whatever else is needed. So that's a good trick. Which then brings me to another point in regards to the workbenches. You can actually create, of course, whatever you'd like to create depending on what workbench you have. And now a good thing to know is you can actually copy and paste them. So you can copy this, just this, and then you can go to another one and you can paste it here, right? Or what you could do is you can actually copy the whole bench. You can copy the whole bench and paste the whole thing somewhere else as well. So this way you don't have to recreate it one by one, and it'll drive you crazy and you'll probably blow your brains out. As you start to expand, this will be more and more needed. So it'll be very, very useful to get these things going. So another thing to keep in mind would be actually researching your mortars as soon as possible, if I can find the damn things, because sooner or later you're going to be getting attacks such as siege attacks, and you're going to be getting attacks such as psych dropships that actually camp out outside and force you to go and either attack them. And the psych ships are pretty much the worst. You have the I don't know, psych ship, and then you have the degrower or whatever. It kills off all the plants as it grows, and those are pretty much really good to mortar up and bomb, because the moment you destroy it they come and tank you, so you're not forced to go and attack them, because generally the mechanoids are pretty hard to attack, and the siege attacks as well, because there's a shit ton of people and they want to siege up. I would recommend at least 4 to 5 mortars. I'd probably build one more, because the less mortars you have, the more time your pawns spend bombing them, bombarding them, and of course the siege has the siege attack has of course a much higher chance of actually tanking you with their mortars that are shooting at you. So 4 or 5 of them, the moment you destroy their mortars, they'll actually come in. Again, I don't know, I'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll throw in some of the clips at the ends of how I deal with all the various types of attacks. So yeah. And another good thing to know, the first thing that you do is when you do start the game, I would highly recommend you actually go to schedule. No, sorry, work. You set everyone for fire, patience, and whoever you do want a doctor, you make him doctor, and bed rest is absolutely important to be number 1. Fire, patience, and bed rest, 100% you gotta be number 1, because when they get a flu or they get an infection, they don't prioritize bed rest because they're working, and the dude's either gonna die off a stupid flu or a stupid infection, and you're gonna blow your brains out. So when they do have an infection, you'll actually see that it'll say the body's infected, and if you move your mouse over it, it'll show the infection percentage, and then it'll show the immunity percentage. Now, of course, if they're in bed and resting immediately, and of course if there's like a proper medical bed or whatever the hell it is, the immunity will go much higher than the infection rate, and of course, depending on how severe it is, if it's very severe, the percentage of the infection will go higher. The moment it reaches 100%, whatever it is, so if the infection reaches the 100% when you're looking at him and you go over the infection circle thingy and the infection reaches 100%, the dude's dead. And if the immunity reaches before the infection, then he'll if the immunity reaches before the infection reaches 100%, then he'll become immune and he'll survive the infection. If not, what I'd suggest, depending, if it's a silly infection like, I don't know, an arm and a leg, or you know, a heart, and a heart won't really help much, he's dead anyways. But if it's an arm and a leg or a ear or an eye, you can just cut the damn thing out. Operations, and here you can just remove whatever you need to remove, and you'll save the guy or girl's life. So I'd highly recommend you guys do that. And then continuing, going back actually to our, no, it was the schedule one. This is another good thing to keep in mind. Now, what I generally like to do is I want everyone to be free. You should assign when they sleep and when they work. Generally, they're at an 8-hour shift, and frankly, I don't care. So I hit copy, and then I just paste everyone. And I paste everyone so they can do whatever the hell they want all day. They can sleep whenever they want. They can go to recreation whenever they want. They can literally do whatever the hell they want. The only reason why I have these ones here is because these are my actually night owl traits. Here's a marriage actually going on, which is another tip and trick I'll just throw right in there. If there's a marriage and a party, wake all the sleepers up, because then they get mood boosts. And I'll wake them up right now because they'll immediately join it and they'll get a mood boost. Don't wake them all up, because if I select them all and I draft them, it'll cancel the actual party or the marriage and it won't even occur. And I want them to actually come in, because then they actually get attended wedding times 2. There you go. And the ones that I woke up, attended wedding times 2. Awesome. 35 mood boost. That is really, really good. So wake everyone up in regards to that. So anyways, back to our schedule. What are the ones that I have at night? So for the night owls are between 11 in the morning till 7 at night. And this is when I set them to sleep. So if I go to Huntsman, Huntsman sleeping now. Why is he sleeping now? If I go to Bio, night owl. That's why. 11 to 18. The mood loose awake during the day of 11 to 18. So that is, I have him like an hour more, but it's fine. I can make him sleep an hour less, but whatever, I really don't care. So the moment he rests up, the moment he hits 100%, he's up anyway. So that's another cool thing to keep in mind in regards to the schedules. Just make sure that in case they do have that night owl trait, make sure that they're actually doing their thing. Another few weird traits are, there's Undergrounder, where he wants to be stuck indoors all the damn time. So if you build roofs everywhere, and if you see that I build roofs literally everywhere, you can keep him in the zone, but I really don't give a shit. That buff is so minor, it's like -3 or something, which is fine, so I'll let him just deal with that. And they can deal with that as well. Moving on, another good thing to actually do before anything at all is actually going to the assigning. Now, the weird thing is it's not done by default. You got to do it yourself. You have to deal with the outfits. So generally everyone's set for anything. You're going to go assign to anything. This is where you set the outfits, and what you got to do is you're going to move the left one. It's to 0. You're going to move it to, sorry, it's the right one. Right, you're going to literally move the left one to 51. So that means they will wear anything from 51% to 100%. And of course, tainted apparel is not allowed. Tainted apparel is a dead person's clothes, because that gives a debuff as well. So you make them chuck everything on the ground which is below 51%, because then it also gives them a debuff. I think it starts from 50%. So they throw that down. And then a little bit later on, you go to manage drug policies. I have all the drug policies, the penoxycline, whatever the hell that is. I have it set for 5 days, every 5 days. It doesn't matter what mood they take. This is like a mid, sort of later game. You should be either making these, producing them, or buying them. I produce and buy them. I just take everything I can possibly find the moment they have them. And this is to prevent malaria and all the other stuff. So if I go to this, the drug preventing infections before they take hold, blocks malaria, sleeping sickness, plague, and there's like a ton of shit plague and all that stuff. So literally everyone is set on this, including the junkies. So you do have a couple of junkies. I realized I put 2 reasons. I put no drugs for absolutely anyone, even social, unless they really have it in their traits, because they get addicted, and then it's just, you have the whole withdrawal shit and they go crazy. So no drugs to anyone. The only reason I have these guys on drugs, and I have them only set on social drugs. I can even have them set once a day, but I don't even do that because I don't want them to take drugs every single day, even though they're not absolutely happy. Because the moment these guys that actually have a requirement to take drugs, or are chemically interested, or teetotalers, they actually get quite a big boost and buff when they do touch drugs once in a while. So that's why I keep these guys on it, and the other ones no. And that being said, this guy should be on no drugs because he really has nothing else. This is the good thing in social drug policies. You can actually see in brackets, it tells you in case that there's anything up for that. And then another thing that I just nearly missed out is nudists. You do have nudists. That's why I would not recommend starting as well. I don't think I mentioned that. Probably I did. Don't start off with nudists, because they're just a fucking mess. If it's too hot, if it's too cold, well, if it's too hot it's not an issue, but if it's too cold, and plus they're just butt naked running around. And I can't mainly put on them, especially in the beginning, you can't put on them armor, which is a big issue. So no nos. Later on units, if they're really damn good, like this one, I mainly got them because of course the cooking, I'm just like, holy shit, who's gonna, and cooking and plants, and I do need a planter and a cooker. So I'm just like, you know what, she's naked, I put her completely on the bottom side here on the right. So even though she's really good at shooting, there's no way I'm putting her into a fight because she has no armor or anything, but I do need her. I don't care if she's naked. If something, you know, if she loses a limb or not, doesn't matter. She already lost a couple of things, so I did already put a couple of arms on her. She's not a body purist, so it's fine. She's just a little bit, you know, fragile. You know, if it's really a nudist, go for it. But that being said, back to the actual assigning. Make sure you stick the nudists and nudists to make sure that they don't wear any clothes, only a helmet. Otherwise, they get a debuff as well. That being said, we move on to another point which I think is pretty good to know, is inspirations. Inspirations is one of the most undervalued thing in the game, and I think it's very powerful, especially in the start of the game. You have various inspirations. You have recruitment inspirations, which guarantees a recruitment. You have taming inspirations, which guarantees a taming. You know, this you could use if you want to like tame a hard animal, or if you just want to tame an animal in the beginning. Regarding in regards to taming animals, you can tame alpacas, the Dermadog, whatever the hell that camel is called. Bisons also haul. These are all the animals that haul. Buffaloes, of course, are ideal, which I have a crap ton of buffaloes, as you can see here. I'm actually doing, I'll get to that a little bit later. Buffaloes are really good because they have the buffalo wool, and plus they have the meat, and plus they're not bad haulers. But again, for me, the end game in regards to hauling is the actual elephants, and I'm actually starting to breed quite a bit of elephants. So sooner or later I will be getting rid of the actual buffaloes. My elephant population is getting quite high. I was lucky enough and I bumped into a city, and the city had literally one male and one female. So I bought them both. I had just enough money for them, and it took forever to get it to this population, and now I literally have, just right off the bat, I have 3 pregnant, so it's awesome, you know. So in regards to those animals, I would do that.